I've been homeless since the age of 14 due to abuse in the home and having a drug-addicted mother. The streets seemed a better option for me than being in that house. That's just how bad it was. And despite, seeing what I saw in the house, I swore I'd never be like her, but obviously being out there on the streets with no resources, I linked up to other people and bad crowds, and I too became addicted to drugs and alcohol. And for the next 17 years, it was just a cycle of drugs, homelessness, jail. That was the cycle up until 2006. I was so small doing drugs that, and my voice is already deep, and I was prostituting, and a guy approached me, and he asked me, was I a man? And I was in such a desperate state to get the drug that I actually pulled my pants down in the middle of the street to show him that I was a woman. And when I think about that's my incomprehensible demoralization. That was my breaking point. And from that moment to this one, I've been on the right track, and I've been pursuing those things to provide a better life for me. And since that time, I got out, I went to Sally's house. Sally's house referred me to Bridges Hope program. I went there, I stayed there for a year. And, now I work for the Salvation Army, where I started my journey. I'm so full of gratitude, it's unreal. I can't believe all that God has done for me. In 2009, of July, I purchased my first home, and I just filled out my application for graduation so I can walk in May. The Salvation Army means the world to me. It's provided that foundation for me, to stand on. It's not shaky, it's solid. And I learned so much. It's still helping me right now today. I love the Salvation Army with a passion. I'm dedicated, I'm loyal, to the cause.
I was born in Africa during a time of war. My skin was the color of charcoal. I was diseased, fatherless, and heartbroken. Soldiers in Rwanda preyed upon little children, inspiring them to hate, kill, steal, instead of loving and caring for themselves and others. When we tried to escape Rwanda and its genocide, my father was killed in front of us. At that moment, my life was forever changed. We had to find a better way of life. We traveled for 40 days and nights with me on my mom's neck and my sister on her back, walking, begging for food. We were starving to death, and the hope for a better tomorrow seemed as it would never be a reality. I remember sitting by a campfire, hearing a noise in the bushes, and before we could blink our eyes, the lady sitting next to me was snatched by a tiger, and we had to watch her lifeless as he snapped her neck and began to eat her piece by piece. I wasn't sure what to expect in high school, and that is when I was introduced to the club's Upper Bound program. I fell in love with how the staff took a genuine interest in me, a little girl from Rwanda. They would tell me I was special and my journey was a story that needed to be told. The club staff inspired me to move forward and keep my head up no matter what obstacles I faced. They saw my potential and encouraged me to experience the greatness of an education. The Boys and Girls Club gave me a chance to live healthy, free, and full of hope. My desire to fulfill a long-held dream of becoming an educator in order to assist little Asian, African, Hispanic, and Malaysian children like myself to transition to a life of liberty, to pursue happiness for a brighter tomorrow starts today.
I grew up in a really rough neighborhood on the northwest side of Houston in a community called Acres Homes. And in that community was Garden City Apartments, which is where I grew up, which was not a very good neighborhood. I've seen someone get killed and he was standing a few feet away from me. I always knew that there was a better life and I wanted it, some kind of way. I was going to find it and grab a hold of it. And one day I remember riding the school bus. I missed my bus. I missed the stop to get off the bus, so the bus passed up my stop. And I saw a sign that said, "The Positive Place for Kids." When I walked in the door, at the time, our club was really, really small. It was like one room, but in that one room, we had a pool table, foosball table, a ping pong table. There were like TV, all the movies that you could think of. And all this, and I'm like, wow. Day on, anytime I could get to the club, I was there. During the summers, I would be there every day. And then I won Youth of the Year for the Salvation Army of Greater Houston. And then I won Youth of the Year for East Texas. And then I went on to state. I didn't win at state, but just the fact and the idea that I made it coming from the circumstances in which I did was truly a blessing.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Adams, and I represent the Garden City branch. I'm the second place winner of the Youth of the Year. When my dad told us that he would no longer be receiving his unemployment checks, I was really worried. I wasn't sure how a family of 6 was going to. I prayed that my dad would get a job. About 2 weeks later, I heard that the club was hiring. They needed a new program aide, preferably male. At that moment, I knew that God was answering my prayers through a place where I spent most of my time. I knew that my dad was destined to work with me at the club. So I got him an application, and in no time, he was in the building, changing lives just as I had been. I had first heard about the Boys and Girls Club about 2 years ago when my little brother brought home an application saying it would be held at his school after school. It sounded interesting, and I wanted to go, but it was only open to his school. In the years that followed, I found out that they were building a new building for the club and that they needed teen volunteers. I had to do an application and interview to get the job. My first experience with the club was not as a regular team member, but as a junior staff member during the summer. That summer, I had a ton of amazing adventures with all the staff and the kids. I wanted to continue volunteering even when my official job as junior staff was over. So I asked if I could help out during the school year, and the rest is history. I go to the club every day after school. I still enjoy working there, and the people there have become like a second family. I have even got people from my school to start volunteering. Thank you.